Compiled in the News Talk Radio newsroom and powered by DemeraraWaves.com.
The news comes to you compliments of KFC. It's finger licking good. With the news at this time, I am Ruth Wilson. Good evening. First, the highlights. The highly contagious Omicron variant of the coronavirus may be in Guyana. The opposition APNU-AFC is yet to name its nominees for the Public Procurement Commission. 2 men have been charged with the murder of a well-known martial expert and bodyguard. A Linden man has been arraigned on a charge of attempting to murder a constable who attempted to arrest him for rape of a female. And Guyana recorded 94 new COVID cases in the last 24 hours and 1 death. In the region, the reopening of all public schools in the British Virgin Islands for the new academic term has been switched to online. And in Suriname, several rifles that were believed to have been stolen from the private armory of former President Desi Bouterse have been found. And internationally, the World Health Organization has warned that Omicron will not be the last COVID-19 variant. Details of these and other stories in a moment.
Hit to stand in lines? Don't worry. KFC has got you covered with their drive-thrus, which are open now from 9 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. at Movietown, Vlissingen Road, Mandela Avenue, Reading Hoop, Parika, and the Amazonia Mall. That's right, you can drive through at 6 of their 9 locations. Remember, their current opening hours are 9 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. Go on down and let your taste buds savor the spices today. KFC.
It's finger licking good.
And now the news in detail. Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony says that the highly contagious Omicron variant of COVID is believed to be in Guyana.
We suspect that we might have the Omicron variant that is in circulation in Guyana, because based on these numbers, we know that in other countries with Omicron it's highly contagious, so the numbers would keep multiplying every 2 to 4 days. You'll have an increase in these numbers. And so with the way that this has rapidly progressed over the last couple of days, we suspect from an epidemiological point of view that we might have Omicron that is in circulation here.
The health minister says Guyana is actively considering administering booster doses to children ages 16 years and older.
And for some in the U.S. now, they have considered that persons 16 years and older can get the booster dose. So that's something that is under active consideration here in Guyana. And we'll see when those considerations are concluded. Maybe we'll change the recommendation as well.
The health minister is highly recommending that Guyanese wear the N95 mask consistently and properly. Scientists believe that Omicron mostly affects the throat rather than the lungs, which are affected mostly by the Delta variant. The government has identified its names while the opposition is still considering names for nomination to the Public Procurement Commission, PPC. During Monday's meeting of the Bipartisan Parliamentary Committee of the Public Accounts Committee, deliberations were at times heated. Members of the committee were assured by the chairman of the committee, Jermaine Figuera, that no ultimatum was agreed for the conclusion of listing names. A subcommittee consisting of the chairman of the PAC, Mr. Figuera, and Minister of Parliamentary Affairs, Gil Teixeira, met last in December of 2021.
Because the subcommittee was bestowed with the confidence of the committee to do a specific work, it is not being done in a manner that it should be, I must say. But all efforts should be put, and the proposal to meet this week is a very acceptable one, and I think that will help to move the process forward. There's no ultimatum here, Honorable Member.
Parliamentary Affairs Minister informed the PAC Monday's meeting that the government has selected its required names, but the opposition is yet to submit its names.
and we agreed to meet again. There was no further communication with us from that meeting except to exchange Christmas greetings, and that was it. So I don't want this to be conveyed in this committee that you have put forward names. You have not said that, but your members seem to have that impression, and that the government is holding it up. We have not come to that position. However, at Wednesday meeting, if the opposition is ready with their 2 names and we're ready with our 3 names, then we can proceed. If we're still in the process of making decisions and getting guidance, then we will have to keep meeting.
The government is required to submit 3 names and the opposition 2 names to put in place the 5-member Public Procurement Commission. The Charity Neighborhood Council is moving to stamp out street vending. Acting overseer for the council, Ramiz Baksh, says the plan is to create a semi-mall where vendors will be able to sell their items in an orderly and secure environment. He says eventually a concrete fence will be constructed around the tarmac and lights will be installed. The Charity Neighborhood Council overseer says that plans have also been made to extend the shed to cover the other half of the tarmac and include an entrance and exit. Baksh added that these works were also aimed at providing some security for vendors and their goods, since there have been cases of burglary. The Guyana Defense Force GDF Engineering Corps is continuing to perform infrastructural works across the country. The government's Department of Public Information says the GDF is building the steel frame shed for the vendors' tarmac at the Charity Market in Region 2. This will allow vendors to ply their trade there to operate within a safe environment. In 2021, the government spent $30 million to rehabilitate the market's tarmac. The Health Ministry has recorded 94 new cases of COVID-19 in the last 24 hours. One unvaccinated 69-year-old female is the latest to succumb to COVID in the last 24 hours, taking the death toll to 1,056. Official data shows 54 persons are hospitalized, with 6 seriously sick in the COVID ICU. There are now 1,281 persons being isolated at home. The Health Ministry says it has partially vaccinated 411,269 persons and fully vaccinated 295,696. There are 30,410 partially vaccinated children ages 12 to 17 years old, and 21,740 of that age group are fully vaccinated. A Linden man has been arraigned on a charge of attempting to murder a constable who attempted to arrest him for rape of a female. Jamal Regan Ford, called Sugar, age 29 years old, a laborer of Lot 969 Phase 1B Wisrock Wisma Linden, appeared in the Linden Magistrates Court to answer to charges of rape of a child under 16 years of age and attempt to commit murder. Police say the accused Jamal Ford was arrested on Old Year's Day for the 2 offenses. He was not required to plead to the indictable charge that was read to him by Magistrate Wand Fortune. He was remanded to prison until Monday, January 31. Police say they are awaiting advice for the rape charge. Two men have been charged with the murder of well-known martial expert Garfield Newton. The accused are Judah Vickery and Darren Bailey. They were remanded to prison on Monday when they appeared before Chief Magistrate Ann McLennan at the Georgetown Magistrates Court. They have been charged with the murder of Garfield Newton, a bodyguard at the Bihari Group of Companies, and a karate trainer. Police say 3 unidentified men attacked Mr. Newton as he was returning to a Bihari Group vehicle from a goldsmith. Investigators were informed that 1 silver handband, 1 gold chain, and 2 gold finger rings, as well as 1 Glock 9mm pistol and 2 magazines of 15 rounds each and a cell phone were stolen. Police say that Newton went to a goldsmith on Campbell Street where he collected the now stolen items he had taken to clean. You are with us on 103.1 FM News Talk Radio Guyana. It is 18 hours 10. We now turn to news in the region. Antigua and Barbuda's tourism sector is again facing a possible crisis. The sector was hit hard by the COVID-19 pandemic for a whole year in 2020 due to lockdowns and travel restrictions. Antigua and Barbuda Hotel and Tourism Association member Alex De Brito says cancellations have increased. Mr. De Brito, who is also the Vice President of Operations for the Galley Bay Resort, tells Observer that hoteliers were looking forward to a successful winter season. De Brito says the next couple of months could also be difficult for the sector. The reopening of all public schools in the British Virgin Islands for the new academic term has been diverted to online platforms. This decision came with the continued rapid rise in positive COVID-19 cases in the territory. In a very brief statement issued by the Ministry of Education on January 1, parents were also informed that schools would now reopen on January 6 instead, 2 days later than originally planned. However, the release stated that principals and teachers are expected to begin on Tuesday, January 4 for the start of the school term. The release further indicated that the push to online learning platforms was most likely a result of the rapid surge in COVID-19 cases in the territory. The most recent disclosure from health officials on December 31 put the number of positive COVID-19 cases at 423 persons, with the majority of these being 332 cases being on Tortola. The Education Ministry expressed that they were being cautious as they monitor the situation. This is not the first instance of schools being forced to go online in the BVI. Local educational facilities were previously asked to go digital at the beginning of the last academic year. Notably, schools reopened for face-to-face learning sessions at the beginning of the current school year following a deadly COVID-19 surge last July that claimed the lives of more than 35 persons. Both divisions of the Elmore Stout High School, ESHS, were also asked to revert to online learning as the academic term came to a close last year. Turn to news in Suriname. At least 5 AK-47 assault rifles believed to be among those stolen from the armory of the private residence of former President Desi Bouterse have been found. Star News reports that authorities have not made any formal statements about the rifles. It is not clear who placed the weapons in a location where they could be easily discovered. Star News say these weapons are part of the depot of the National Army, which were at the home of ex-President Bouterse. Bouterse had announced at a press conference that the underworld has organized itself and is prepared to return the stolen weapons. Several people are still in custody in connection with the theft of the weapons. They have repeatedly denied their involvement. The case is due to resume on January 20. Official records show that 25 AK-47 rifles are among the weapons that have been stolen. The Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda announced intent to institutionalize year-end Thanksgiving service held yesterday for the islands, even as he scolds the opposition leader for not attending the church service.
We were mandated to give thanks to the Lord for his unfailing love and his wonderful deeds. Scripture also said to us that there are some who are rebellious, And I hope the absence of
This
the
is
leader of
Antigua
the
Newsroom.
opposition, and I'm not trying to be political, but this is the second year that we'd have had an excuse. I hope it's not an act of rebellion, because this Sunday is not for the Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party. It is for the interests of all Antiguans and Barbudans. And perhaps we ought to consult as to how we can make this service more inclusive, to expand it so that all Antiguans and Barbudans, especially our leaders, will understand the importance of setting the tone for each year and to give thanks for God's mercies and blessings. So I will ask the Minister of Ecclesiastical Affairs, who is here with us today, to put a team together to commence the consultations to ensure that we could broaden and enrich this service and to ensure that this service is fully institutionalized, no matter whichever party is in power.
It is 18 hours 16. We now turn to the international news from the BBC.
BBC News with Sue Montgomery. The World Health Organization has warned that Omicron will not be the last coronavirus variant, and it's vital that vaccines are distributed more fairly around the world. A senior epidemiologist with the WHO, Maria van Kerkhove, told the BBC she was enraged at the global failure to deliver vaccines at scale outside high-income countries.
Omicron may be less severe than Delta, but it is a dangerous disease. There are people that are dying from Omicron unnecessarily, as they are dying from Delta unnecessarily. I think what strikes me the most as we, start 2022 is the level of tolerance that people have for people suffering and dying.
South Africa's parliament has suffered further catastrophic damage after a fire that was believed to have been brought under control reignited. The fire service in Cape Town said strong winds had caused smouldering wood in the roof to catch fire again. Smoke and flames billowed from the building for a second day. The authorities in Haiti say they prevented an attempt to kill the Prime Minister, Ariel Henry, during celebrations to mark the anniversary of the country's independence on Saturday. Reports say armed men attacked a church where Mr. Henry was attending a ceremony. Here's Leonardo Rocha.
Local media in Haiti have reported that the incident happened outside a church in the city of Gonaïves. One person is reported to have died. Mr. Henry took power after President Jovenel Moïse was killed by a group of mercenaries inside his official residence 6 months ago. The assassination, which remains unsolved, has worsened a political and social crisis in Haiti, which has seen a sharp rise in murders and kidnappings for ransom over the past year.
A legal document has been released by a New York court, which lawyers for Britain's Prince Andrew hope will end a civil case that's due to be heard against him. He's being sued in New York by Virginia Giuffre, who claims she was forced to have sex with the prince after being trafficked by his former friend, the disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein. Prince Andrew has denied all the allegations. The settlement includes a statement in which Ms. Giuffre agrees not to sue anyone connected to Epstein. A lawyer who represented 8 women who said they were abused by Jeffrey Epstein, Lisa Bloom, said she believed the language used in the settlement was vague.
I expect the judge is going to look at this as, does this clearly release Prince Andrew from any further claims, or is it ambiguous? I think it is ambiguous. We want contracts to clearly specify who is released from a lawsuit and who is not. Normally, anybody released would be named.
This is Sue Montgomery with latest world news from the BBC. 2 of Donald Trump's children are the latest to be subpoenaed by New York prosecutors as part of their fraud inquiry into the former president's business practices. The requests for Ivanka Trump and Donald Trump Jr. to testify were issued by the Office of the State Attorney General. The Tunisian government says the former Interior Minister, Noureddin Begheri, has been arrested on terror charges. The current Interior Minister, said Mr. Begheri, a key figure in the Islamist Ennahda party, was detained on Friday over fears that acts of terrorism targeting Tunisia's security were being planned. Police in India have detained a suspect in connection with an app that published pictures of more than 100 Muslim women, saying they were on sale. The police said the 21-year-old student was taken into custody in Bengaluru and is being transferred to Mumbai. After months of negotiations, David Bowie's estate has sold the singer's entire catalogue of songs to the Warner Music Group. The amount has not been disclosed, but is reported to be upwards of $250 million. David Bowie died in January 2016. Here's our arts correspondent, David Silito.
This is something that is happening across the music industry. Neil Young, Shakira, Bob Marley's estate, Lindsey Buckingham of Fleetwood Mac, The Killers. These are all artists who have recently signed big deals selling their music rights. Bob Dylan, allegedly, the figure that is widely reported was somewhere between $300 and $400 million for his songs. So the David Bowie estate is not alone. This is part of a big trend that's happening in music, and it's essentially a gamble by the financial services industry and the music industry about the long-term returns on music.
BBC News.
And those were the news to the moment.
KFC delivery is now available from the Amazonia location. For shore-based Little Diamond residents, call 632-0533, 632-0533, 6080162, 6080162, or 503-3591, 503-3591. That's KFC's delivery service from the Amazonia location. KFC.
It's finger-licking good.
To end the news, here's a recap of the highlights. The highly contagious Omicron variant of the coronavirus may be in Guyana. The opposition, APNU-AFC, is yet to name its nominees for the Public Procurement Commission. 2 men have been charged with the murder of a well-known martial expert and bodyguard. A Linden man has been arraigned on a charge of attempting to murder a constable who attempted to arrest him for rape of a female. And Guyana recorded 94 new COVID cases in the last 24 hours and 1 death. In the region, the reopening of all public schools in the British Virgin Islands for the new academic term has been switched to online. In Suriname, several rifles that were believed to have been stolen from the private armory of former President Desi Bouterse have been found. And internationally, the World Health Organization has warned that Omicron will not be the last COVID-19 variant. The news came to you compliments of KFC. It's finger-licking good.
This has been the news, compiled in the News Talk Radio newsroom. For ongoing updates, visit demerarawaves.com, and you can check facebook.com/demwaves and twitter.com/demwaves.